Now, there are many validated tools and other sources that registered training organisations and their trainers and assessors can access. And it's expected, again, that trainers and assessors aren't expert LLN practitioners, but there's plenty of resources, and that's what this course is all about. Now, an RTO, the registered training organisation that the trainers and assessors work for, they can actually have the training materials validated by an LLN specialist. Okay, so by the time you as a trainer and assessor get to use the resources, validation is likely to have occurred there. Another thing there is the industry councils will take government grants and fund some generic LLN validated tools. And also internally within an RTO, if an RTO is quite large, like say for example a TAFE organisation, they're likely to have LLN experts there. And smaller RTOs need to do what's practicable. Okay, they may not be able to afford the salary of an expert, but they may be able to partner with a larger RTO and get access to that expert. They may be able to demonstrate that they've got some skills and knowledge there in LLN. And also they can access government funding, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So moving now back to your module, you have a validated tool there that's been provided by the Industry Council, and if we just double click on that together, you'll see that this is an Australian Core Skills Framework Assessment task that's been prepared by an LLN expert for the Industry Council, and then the Industry Council has released this through to RTOs, trainers and assessors. So it's based on forklift safety, which is exactly what we need for Element 1 for John right now. And the first thing here is the target core skills. So you'll see that the tasks, this is an assessment task that we could be giving to John to determine his current core skills. And the tasks that it covers have been linked to what would be required for forklift drivers. Because don't forget, there's not a lot of reading and writing. They're driving a forklift and they can take on board oral instruction. Okay, they can communicate orally, verbally with the supervisor. How many pallets do I need to pick up? Where do I need to take them to? So this task covers writing and numeracy at a level 2. And if John can complete those tasks effectively by himself, then he would be at a level 2. There's also reading, writing and numeracy tasks based at a level 3. Now that's a bit harder, a lot more complex. And if John can't manage those tasks, but he manages the level 2 tasks, then at least we can create a spiky profile based on this type of training at the level 2. Now, if John is only able to do the writing and numeracy tasks at a level 2, but with assistance, because there is the language aspect with John, because English is his second language, then we may have to adjust that back down to a level 1. Okay, so if it's done independently, it can stay at the level, but if it's done with prompting and assistance, then really you would be consulting with an LLN specialist, or assuming that you have to estimate and cater for it being one level less. So let's have a little quick look here. There's some instructions for the assessor. Now normally it would be an LLN specialist performing this, but we do have access to them, and it is something that you negotiate with your RTO. It might be something based on the context, on the circumstance that you could be employing as part of your practice, especially if you're very familiar with this and you're using this all the time. So perhaps the first time you might have an expert just take you through it and show you with a couple of the learners, and it depends on what's practicable for the registered training organisation you work for. So this is all of the mapping. Now you can see the levels of tasks here, and I'm going to let you just open that and have a read through that. There's nothing that we actually have to do with that. You certainly don't have to fill out the answers there, but it does help you appreciate that on our table where we have our spiky profile, which is the line, and then you have your red bar graph, which is the requirements of the task. You could certainly be looking at plotting, these types of requirements for forklift safety. So as we know, level 3 is the minimal level of all core skills to function in the workplace and in the home environment. So you can see here, by having functionality at level 3 for forklift safety, and also giving some lower levels to at least let him prove that he can perform at that level, will help with that spiky profile. Hopefully he'll get to here. If he gets to here independently by himself at a level 2, that means that he's going to need support through the training and assessment. Or you'll have to see whether there's any other way that you can design the training. But if we're looking at a level 2 that he's coming out with, that's really the time to dip into your government grants and see if we can get some learning support, which we'll talk about for John in a moment.